Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing another class loadout tutorial, and this time we're going to be taking a look at the Devastator class. So let's jump in and let's get started. Most people would know by now that I more or less play the tactical class. As you can see here, I've got a lot of tactical loadouts. I got the Stalker loadout down here, and I've also got the Stormbolt loadout, and my veteran I mainly use is a tactical. But this doesn't mean I shy away from the actual Devastator, because the Devastator can be very effective if you use it in the proper fashion. And when I mean in the proper fashion, I mean by supporting your team. Devastators, apothecaries, ground assaults, everything but a tactical is a support class in my eyes, and it should be used as an actual support class supporting your team. Now at the moment I mainly use plasma cannon. I know, I'm a whore. And I use the heavy bolter because the patch which we're playing in right now, the heavy bolter is very effective. It's a really good anti-infantry weapon. Of course, the heavy bolters in themselves, they can suppress targets and stuff like that. We'll get into more of that later on. But firstly, let's jump in and let's look at my plasma cannon class, because I know a lot of people ask me what I normally take. And of course, since I haven't really got a the thing with plasma cannons and mostly the Devastator builds is that you don't really have gun attachments. There's nothing to buy as of yet, so you can really spend points in some of the war gear slots and take most of the trinkets. As you can see here, obviously I've got the plasma cannon. I don't take the mastercrafted or anything like that. I don't take any of the fancy ones. I just take the normal plasma cannon. Actually, it's the alt version because I prefer the skin. I just think it's a nice looking skin. But I don't take the mastercrafted or anything because I feel my skill with the plasma cannon, I can really hit targets. I'm quite an accurate shot with it, so I don't really need to compensate or anything like that. I find like just the normal plasma cannon for me works. But as you can see here, we've got just the regular one you get. We've got the Erebus one, and you can see it's just the recoil really that changes. This one's got 0.22 and this one's got 0.35, which for an extra what is it? This is 580 and this is 500. For an extra 80 points, I don't think it's worth it at all. I just don't think it's worth it. And again, down here, this is 0.2. Sorry, this is 0.22 and this is 0.35. Again, mastercrafted plasma cannons. It's I personally just cannot tell a difference, so I just normally go with the normal alt plasma cannon. Now, one of the major downsides of playing an actual Devastator class is that you don't have a secondary weapon, so you don't have a sidearm. You normally just have your stun. So if a jump assault or a melee guy comes to you, the only really thing you can really do is do your debash and hope for the best that you stun them. And obviously, if you've got a plasma cannon, you can try and do a rapid fire mode into the person and try and take him down, but it doesn't always really work, obviously, because people dodge, sometimes lag is in the game and stuff like that. So as a Devastator, I tend to stack health more than armor, so I just have a little bit more survivability. So as you can see here, of course I've took the Artificer armor because with these builds, like I said, I need to spend points because I've got no gun attachments. I've got the War Gear 1 seal of Medicae, which is plus 16 health. Down here with my trinkets, I've got the plus 2 health, I've got the plus 4 health, and to round it off, I've got plus 1 armor. But I mainly take the health stuff because, again, like I said, it just gives me a little bit more survivability against melee orientated classes. With the ranged classes, I can more or less try and take them on because I do have a chance to do a power up attack, where when a melee guy is attacking me, I can't really do a charged up attack because if I fire it at the guy's feet, it's got to take me down because he's in melee range, so I'm going to end up blowing myself up. Sometimes I do survive because sometimes I have got the health, but 9 times out of 10 I'm killing myself along with that guy, and that's something I really want to avoid doing. Now, with the actual consumables, plasma weapons eat up ammo, so I always try on plasma loadouts to take a ammo pack. I don't go for the double stack pack. Well, with Devastators you can't, but on tacticals you can. But I normally just go for the single ammo pack. Grenades, I'm starting to take crack grenades in every loadout now, because crack grenades can be effective against tanks and infantry. You can stick them on infantry. Sometimes they don't notice because their head's somewhere else, and you could get a nice little combo kill if you stood next to some friends. And they're basically a one-shot grenade as well. With frag grenades, if you roll it at someone's feet, if they have got a lot of toughness and a lot of armor, sometimes they can ignore most of the damage and just take a stun effect. They will take, you know, damage, of course. They will be nearly dead, but sometimes people just won't die. And in certain situations where you want to get, you know, a lot of people off a point, or you want to kill a guy rapidly, sometimes they're not very effective. So I've started to take crack, and like I said as well, crack can be very effective against their actual vehicles. The plasma cannon itself can actually do damage against vehicles as well, but it's not very it doesn't really do a lot of damage. It more or less takes like just a little bit off, but not a lot, and you have to do charge shots. You can't rapidly fire into it. So really, I don't really focus on tanks with my plasma cannon. It's more of a infantry killer on that front. With the actual standard itself, because you can't take the range buff standard with a plasma cannon as a squad leader, I just normally just take this one, which is the +5 decrease in non-melee and melee damage mitigation. I don't know why you don't have the range one for Devastator classes, since most of their weapons are, well, all their weapons are ranged. So I'm not really sure why they don't have that. Maybe it's a balance issue. I'm not too sure. I've asked the developers, but no one's got back to me on that as of yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and jump in the garrison, and I'm just going to show off some of the fire modes you can actually do with the plasma cannon, and just to give a little bit of details on the best scenarios to use these and why to use them and stuff like that, etc, etc. So let's jump in and let's show off the actual plasma cannon itself. Okay, so here we are in the garrison, and I'm going to be showing off the actual plasma cannon itself. As you can see here, this is my plasma cannon class. So the plasma cannon has 3 fire modes all in all. You have the rapid fire mode, you have the charge shot fire mode, and you have the mortar fire mode. So first I'm going to show you the rapid fire mode, which is this. Now, I simply do that by just spamming my left click, and you can see at the bottom where it started to overheat and then it vented itself. Then you have the charge shot fire mode, where you need to hold your left button down like this. And as soon as it gets to a fully charged shot, it will actually fire. It will automatically fire. It never used to be like this. You were able to actually overcharge your plasma cannon, which was really cool, but they nerfed that, and I'm hoping they bring that back. Okay, so the third mode is the mortar mode. Now, to access the mortar mode, depending on your keybind, now mine is X. So if I press X, it switches to mortar mode. You can see at the bottom right, it is now in mortar mode. And if you just hold your gun down, and then it does a charge shot like that, and then you can see it fires a mortar shot. Now what these are for is for shooting behind cover and stuff like that. But what I've learned from this is that it's not really effective anymore. It actually used to have a guiding system to it, where you can see where your mortar shot would go, but now it's more or less you have to do it just by eye, and I find that the projectile is a bit too slow, so I don't normally use mortar mode. Actually, I don't think I use mortar mode at all anymore. It's just not a very effective piece of the gun, in my opinion, anymore. Now, you're probably wondering which is the best way to use the fire modes in the game. Obviously, certain fire modes are used in certain situations. All I can say about this is it's basically your personal preference. I'm more of a charged shot player, so my shots are always more or less charge shots, because I go for the AoE slash stun of players, more or less going in for the full kill so my team can clear up. When it does come down to, you know, someone running at you and you need to kill him, I simply zoom in and just rapid fire. You can see the gun is quite accurate at range, but it's not fully accurate. You know, if you're firing this from the hip and you're panicking, you will have a lot of spread. I'll try and just demonstrate that now. Let me just the gun to cool down, and then I can try and demonstrate that. Don't forget, you will be probably moving when someone's coming after you. And now you can see that rapid fire when, you know, you're trying to dodge fire or someone's trying to run at you. It does have a lot of spread, so I would always suggest just be calm, take a nice cooled shot, backtrack, and then fire. Always try and fire, if you can, in front of the target, because don't forget the plasma cannon has splash damage. So splash damage is going to be a big big thing in your arsenal when it actually comes against enemy players. The splash damage obviously causes splash damage, but it also stuns them as well. So if you do hit them, you will have a couple of seconds to load up another charge shot and fire into them again. Simply like that. So it's always, you always have to remember that the plasma cannon does help you when you stun targets, and it can buy you some time when you actually do stun that target as well. My next Devastator class I want to show off is the Heavy Bolter class I have. Now I have the Heavy Bolter. It's basically a suppression class. I like to shoot this gun not to kill people, but to suppress them so they can't shoot back at my guys. That's what I mainly use the Heavy Bolter for. I don't go like around trying to get the kills and stuff. Again, this class is a support class. You're there to support your team, and I find the best way of supporting your team with this class is to suppress the enemy so they can't shoot back at you. So you have the advantage of the range combat when your forces are actually pushing in to take or to defend an objective. Now, just like my plasma cannon class, I mainly stack health, but because this gun's only 300, I have a bit more to spend on health. So with the armor, of course, I went with the Artificer armor, like always. War gear, I've actually got the Devastator's Will, so this is plus 50 health. Now this is really, really good. You can see here, it's like a little scroll around my neck. Actually, it actually goes into my helmet, which I don't really like. That triggers me when armor clips, but it gives me plus 50 health. You can see down here I've got plus 4 health in the trinkets, plus 2 health, and to round it up I've got the plus 3 armor. Now with the consumables, since this guy has actually a lot of ammunition stacked on him, I take health because I want to survive. So I normally don't take, well, I don't think I've ever took an actual ammo pack with a heavy bolter, because I think you get 300 shots, and with those 300 shots you do have time to really go back to an actual ammo crate to resupply and stuff like that. I've never really been in a situation where I've run out of ammunition with a heavy bolter, so I don't really. I'd rather take the medikit and just have that survivability aspect to my class. With the grenade, I didn't take the frag grenade with this class because if I was to upgrade it, if I was to sacrifice my health for a grenade, then for the actual crack grenade, then I go over by 20 points. So I'd rather I'd rather take the health. I'm about surviving in this class. It's not about, you know, being on the the actual, like I said before, the actual heavy bolter class is not being really on the front lines. It's like getting in positions where you can give fire support. So you know you get into nice defense positions. So you're not really going to you just need to keep safe, really, and the best way to keep safe is to make sure you have a lot of health and a lot of stuff that will keep you in health, aka the medipack. With the actual standard, again, it's just like the normal standard which I have on the plasma cannon. Of course, we can't have the range buff, so I just take this one. I could take this one. It's just I just want to mix it up a bit and just look a bit different, so I just take this one and that one on my plasma cannon class. Okay, so when it actually comes to the actual picking which heavy bolter you want to play with, I would say it's down to personal preference, but stats wise I would say just take the normal heavy bolter. Now as you can see here, these three are the normal heavy bolters. I know this is it says venerable, but they all have the same stats. I just went with the alt one because I like the red on the yellow look, to be fair. Now the voice of the Emperor, if you're someone who wants to do more suppression, then this is the gun to take. It's an extra 80 points, but it does less damage. It actually does less damage than the normal heavy bolters, but it does more suppression onto the enemy. Now I find that the suppression itself in game from the normal heavy bolter does the job just as well, in my opinion. So I don't normally take the voice of the Emperor at all. It's in my opinion, it's not really worth taking. Down here we have the Mastercrafted and we have the Requiem heavy bolter, which are basically just the same bolters with the same stats. Again, as you can see here, the recoil just differs. This is 0.3, this is 0.19. I really do not take the mastercraft. I don't think I'd really take a mastercrafted weapons in anything, bar the Vulcan weapon, which I will speak about in just a second. But to be completely fair, I would recommend just staying with the normal heavy bolters. They'll do the exact same job. And with the extra 100 points, that 100 points can be spent in such a better way than just on these weapons. I know you look cool, like for example the Requiem, you get all this smoke effect and all that. It looks fantastic, but for me, stats wise, the actual 100 points can be spent on far better items to improve your survivability in game and to make you a bit more offensive in game as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do really quickly, I'm going to jump in game, I'm going to show off the heavy bolter very quickly and just explain some of the fire modes you can do and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so when it comes to the heavy bolter, you have two fire modes in my opinion. You have, actually, you could say three, but it's free mixed with stances. So obviously you have the hit fire when you can just walk forward and shoot, just like. And then you have the embedded position where if you crouch and you can just fire from like this. And then lastly, which I would recommend, is that you have the brace position, where it's a brace position, you basically get no kick from your weapon, you can be very accurate, you can put a stream of fire down onto the target, and you can do a lot of damage just like this. Now again, it's all down to your keybinds, but with me, brace, as you can see at the bottom, I just press my middle mouse button and it braces just like that. But again, it's all down to your keybind, so make sure you change that to however you like it. Okay chaps, just to finish the video off, I just want to go through some of the other weapons which I don't have classes for, just to explain what they're mainly used for and how best to use them, and just to give you a bit of insight on the actual weapons themselves. So let's get started with the grav cannons. So the grav cannons are anti-tank. Well, they can be used as anti-tank and anti-infantry weapons, but I mainly find that the grav weapons are very, very effective against Eldar. If you want to go out and hunt Eldar vehicles, I would recommend using the grav cannons over the multi-melee weapons, since the grav weapons actually slow down the vehicles, and the actual Eldar vehicles themselves can be very, very fast and very, very tricky to handle. So if you get a couple of guys with grav cannons on them, they can be really, really devastating. They can more or less bring the vehicle to a complete stop, and you can actually put, you know, a lot of damage actually on the vehicles themselves. Again, they can be used for infantry for the same purpose. Grav cannons, we have grav guns on the tacticals. They can be used to slow down infantry and stuff, but I would recommend the grav cannon to be used on actual vehicles than people. Okay, the next weapon I want to show off are the las cannons. Now, the las cannons are actually quite useful with the Space Marines, because you have three variants of them. You have the burning las cannon, you have just the normal las cannon, and you have the master crafted las cannon. If I can find it, there he is, the master crafted las cannon, all the way down there. So now let's start with the burning las cannon. So the burning las cannon doesn't do a lot of damage. It doesn't do a lot of damage. What it does, it puts a burning effect actually on the target. So you can see here the damage is 1, the heat it puts on is 100, the target lock on is a second. So it's basically a very, very fast shooting gun. Now with this las cannon, I would recommend this is used for fortresses, not to take down actual gun emplacements, but to actually put pressure on the infantry up on the walls, because you've got such of a rapid fire mode with this weapon. You can really target people, and before they even notice the beams on them, you can shoot them, and more or less 9 times out of 10 the shot you put on them will down them with fire, and it takes a sorcerer then to go to heal them, so you're more or less taking 2 people out of the fight. So if you can get like a nice little team with burning las cannons, you can be very, very effective when it comes to taking down defense positions with people who are embedded in with auto cannons and heavy bolters and all the kind of Eldar weapons and AUG weapons and stuff like that. Now the actual las cannon itself, which is mainly used for anti-tank, has a 2-second charge, as you can see here. So if you want to go full on anti-tank from range, then I would suggest taking the las cannon, but adding to that, I would probably say take the mastercrafted las cannon, because not only does it have a better lock-on range, because it's got 1.6 seconds compared to the 2 seconds. This can actually be used against infantry as well. So with this firing on infantry, it one-shots them. It's not like the burning las cannon. I know it's got 0.6 seconds longer than the las cannon, but if you hit these, if you hit someone with this las cannon, it will instantly kill him. They will not go down on burn or anything like that. It will instantly kill him. So if I had to pick all in all which las cannon to take, I would probably take the mastercrafted las cannon, because it can actually be anti-tank and anti-infantry because of the actual target lock-on. And the final Devastator weapon I'm going to be looking at is the multi-melter. Now the multi-melter is mainly used for anti-tank. It can be effective against infantry, but I would recommend that, I've always been saying from the start, is that you are a support class. You're there to support your friends, and the way to support your friends with a multi-melter is to take down the enemy vehicles. It's a massive priority that you take down the enemy rhinos, trucks, wave serpents and stuff like that, because an enemy without armor support is not really an actual enemy at all. They can be actually murdered and brutalized in such a way when they don't have tanks to support them, because you have the tanks, they don't have tanks. So it's basically like shooting fish in a barrel. So if you can get a team that's very, very effective with your anti-tanks, you know, with your multi-melters and stuff like that, and go out hunting their vehicles, the game will be 10 times more easier. So the multi-melter itself, I would say it's, well, obviously it's a close range weapon. It does have a bit of range in it, but if you're going to be using this, expect to be, you know, in close quarter combat with a lot of people. With the actual multi-melters themselves, they're you know, we have 1, 2 here. We have the mastercrafted down here. You can see the heat per shot changes. I would get, to be fair, with the points cost, I would just go with the normal multi-melter if you're struggling, not the mastercrafted. But if you do have points, then I would definitely take the Vulcan multi-melter over anything. This gun is very, very effective against tanks, and again, it can be used to put burning on infantry as well. So if you are struggling with a lot of infantry, you know, spraying this into a group of people or a couple of guys will put the burning effect on them, and it will do quite a lot of damage. So if you do have the points, take the Vulcan melter. If you don't, just take the normal multi-melter and just go out and make sure you prioritize mainly vehicles over infantry. Vehicles is your main job when you're a multi-melter, not infantry. So please make sure you actually go out and hunt the vehicles and not just go out there just to get kills hunting infantry. Okay, that is me done for this class loadout guide. I hope you've all enjoyed yourself. I hope you've learnt some cool stuff. If you've got any more ideas or any suggestions, please post them below. Like I always say, we're here to help each other out to better ourselves as a faction. So post away. If you want me to do another loadout guide, post below which class you'd like me to look at next, and I'll take that into consideration and I'll try and get that done. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you and have a great week. See you now, and bye bye.